No wizards. Hello wizards. Hope you are doing all fine. Let's go. Hey Lisa. How are you, Lisa?
Huh. They
how are you
came all
doing?
this way. That
How are
was
you doing?
stupid.
Oh, please, bro. Win a game. I'm so tired. Wow.
Gotta go! Gotta go! Go, go, go!
There.
Flashing!
I'm out of here!
Enemy spotted.
Enemy spotted. A.
Go, go, go! I'm out of here!
Enemy spotted.
Watch out!
Last player standing.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What that?
Spike planted.
Moved. Die. Shadows traveling.
You win the round. I'm sussing.
That Jet is all speed, no skill. She's mine.
What?
Oh. Ah.
Gotta go!
Mine right now. Flashing!
Go, go, go!
One suppressed.
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A.
Go, go, go!
All missiles away.
I'm taken out. Gotta go! Out of charges!
Spike planted.
Cover going out.
Last player standing.
So far it's damaged 60.
Stealing sight.
One enemy remaining.
Nice one, nice one.
Remember, bullets hurt. Need a drop. I'm out of here.
Hello guys.
I'm out of here.
This is my first match. I'm still working on that. So let's go.
Gotta go.
Check here.
There. Go, go, go. Take this. Coming through.
Spike planted. Reloading. One enemy remaining.
Wait.
Enemy spotted C.
I'm out of here.
Don't rush me.
Here they goes.
Clutch.
Oh, milliseconds.
That was incredible, Reyna. And they call me the monster.
Go, go, go. I'm out of here. Gotta go.
I must hold together.
Go, go, go. Gotta go.
Enemy spotted. A.
Spike
I'm out of
planted.
here. Almost out.
Force
I'm out of
suppressed.
here.
Reload.
Last placed. Flashing. Go, go, go.
All missiles away. All right. Headshot. Enemy spotted. A.
Gotta
Reloading.
go.
One enemy remaining.
I'm out of here.
That
The
was
enemy only looks composed.
I need
Their
this.
heart's still a different story.
okay.
I'm outta
okay.
here.
Oh.
Yes.
Go, go, go.
Let's kill this competition.
Cover going out.
Don't push, don't push. Omen, omen. Oh.
Flashing.
Gotta go.
Pressed.
Maybe A, maybe C, I guess.
There.
But only two in C.
On my mark.
Go, go, go. Gotta go.
There. Enemy spotted. C.
Enemy
Reloading.
spotted. C.
Oh no.
Spike planted.
Who's traveling? All missiles away. Multiple enemies C.
Safe.
Grenade is live. Still in sight. Cover going out. Enemy spotted C. My ultimate is ready.
As much as this world hurt me,
I need a
it's
weapon.
mine. Need a drop. Need a drop.
I'm out of here.
It's my first match. I'm still warming up. What we will do is don't worry.
Go, go, go.
E.
Shadows.
Watch out.
traveling.
I'm all straight.
Spike down. C. Spike planted.
You will not kill my allies!
Last player standing.
Oh no.
Look for my shadows, they will hide you.
Oh, oh no. Okay.
I'm out of here! Gotta go! Quick feet, quick trigger. Go, go, go! There.
Come see.
Take this! Coming through! Drop!
Spike planted.
Oh, come on. Is there a sniper? Are you serious?
You had your fun! My turn!
Locating targets. All missiles away.
Just say.
Last player standing.
Oh my god.
Listen up. Kill them before they kill us. Gotta go!
No, we will not surrender. Never.
Ah, break's over. Gotta go! Go, go, go!
The hunt begins.
Spike down A.
Gotta go! Perfect.
One enemy remaining.
There. Those
I'm
were
outta
your
here.
last words.
Go, go, go! I belong here. We all belong here.
Hurry up.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Go, go, go!
Now we wait.
Gotta go! Get out of my way!
See.
Enemy spotted. Shadows traveling.
Nowhere to run! Ugh, I'm out of here. Watch out! Gotta go!
This is how we end.
Last player standing. Spike down C. One enemy remaining.
All missiles away. Live munition.
Spike planted.
Left.
Nice, the hole.
Well, I lived a good life.
But sad.
The symphony of death. Don't worry, you get used to it.
Go, go, go! I'm out of here!
Weapons up. Comms open.
I'm out of here!
See, again.
Bring me the arsenal! This way! Take this! Watch it!
Spike down. C.
Oh,
One enemy remaining.
GG.
Reloading.
Get ready. I go fast.
We can take them.
Need a drop.
Omen, can you bind me, Omen?
Salamat. Thanks.
Thank you.
Go, go, go!
Caution here.
Blinding.
Go, go, go!
Two suppressed.
Enemy spotted. A.
Wall trick! This way!
On solo.
Down!
Shame. One enemy remaining.
Enemy spotted. A. Caution here.
Flash placed. Blinding!
Reloading.
Rip and
All missiles
tear.
away.
Swords activated.
Blinding prepped. Gotta go!
Spike planted.
Go, go, go!
GG.
I'm out of here! I'm out of here!
Last round before the switch.
No sense in saving now.
Who needs a gun?
Spend. Enjoy the arsenal.
Gotta go!
I can buy.
Gotta go! Go, go, go!
Cover going out.
See?
Here we go!
Oh, no. Oh.
Spike planted.
One suppressed.
Blinding prepped. Flashing. Good hit. Hush up.
One enemy remaining.
On your left.
GG. Very nice.
Shadows traveling.
Did you really expect that to work?
Switching sides.
Again. Hurt them
I'm
again.
out of here!
No excuses. Get what we came for.
All set.
Gotta go!
Launching thorns. Thorns activated. Flash placed.
Blinding!
Cover going out.
Coming through! Go, go, go!
Obsolete.
Go A, Reina. Reina, Tejo, what are you
Where
doing?
are you guys?
A, A.
Where are you?
Are
I
you serious?
planted A.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Go fast.
Defusing.
Last player standing.
Oh my god. Oh, really.
This should be simple enough. I flushed them out, you finish them.
I really can't understand.
I'm out of here! Let's go!
Wall set.
Go, go, go!
Rip and tear. Thorns are live.
Cover going out.
Flash placed. Flashing. Good hit.
Go, go, go! Nice. I'm out of here!
Enemy spotted. A.
Blinding.
Take this!
Shadows traveling. Reloading. Pitiful. Reloading.
I'm out of here!
Last player standing. Clutch.
I faced worse. Ugh.
That guy's nice.
Ability, dedication, time. That's all we need.
No, go see.
Gotta go!
Now we wait.
Smoke on them, please, Omen.
Shadows
Still
traveling.
in sight.
Cover going out.
Enemy spotted C.
Gotta go!
Reloading.
Drop the spike.
Let's
I
push.
have the spike.
Blinding cracked. Blinding. I have the good hit.
One moment.
Enemy spotted. C.
Cutting their vision.
This way!
Reloading.
Go, go, go!
Flash placed. Flashing.
One enemy
Reloading.
remaining.
There.
Grab the spike.
Spike planted. Launching thorns. Thorns are live.
Gotta go! I'm out of here! Blinding! Go, go, go!
Launching thorns. Thorns activated.
I'm out of here!
Look your enemy in the eye. It helps with accuracy.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
B maybe.
B is very bad for planting. Let's go A.
Go, go, go.
Embarrass them. Cutting the
Rip and tear.
I'm out of here.
Blinding crack. Flashing.
reloading.
Wait.
Enemy spotted.
This way.
Watch them run.
I'm out of here. Gotta go.
Enemy spotted.
Is dead.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
You are so
Nice, very nice, guys. That's how we play. Good.
Ingat ka. Don't get stabbed. Bad way to go.
Spike here.
Go, go, go.
Maybe we go
We
C.
can take them.
Go, go, go.
By any means necessary.
Now we wait.
still in sight. Reloading.
Rotate to A.
Drone going out.
Gotta go.
Wow.
Reloading. There.
Just go see.
Reloading.
Cool, Rich.
Spike down. Attacker spawn.
Enemy spotted. Attacker spawn.
Last player standing.
My turn.
Nice try.
Control the space. Control their choices.
Maybe you rush B.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. There. Get out of my way.
Spike
have
drop.
this
Go, go, go.
There.
They will cower.
Watch out. Gotta go.
The hunt begins.
Lock placed. Flash trap destroyed.
Reloading. Enemy spotted A.
Reloading.
You will not kill my ally.
Multiple enemies, A. This is how we do.
One enemy remaining.
Plant the spike. Reloading.
Plant the spike. Drone going out.
Placing wall trap.
Planted.
And now they're all.
Reloading.
Charge and shoot. Easy enough.
No. Go see.
Need a drop. Need a drop. Go, go, go.
Check your posture.
Now we wait.
Go, go, go.
Many enemies C.
Spike down, C.
I'm out of here. There. I'm out of here. Short good. Nice try.
I got this spike.
Last player standing. Spike down, C. One enemy remaining.
Nice try.
Deep breaths, everyone. Your hearts are pounding. Need a drop. Need a drop.
Gotta go.
Thank you.
Yes.
We win. We survive.
We go B. Slow, slow, slow.
I got the spike.
Blinding prepped. Blinding. There.
Shadows traveling. Shadows traveling. Two suppressed. Silence. I'll take it. Stealing sight.
Oh no.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
She's low.
Missile deployed. Spike planted. Grenade is live.
She's reloading. Maybe she's coming.
Launching missile.
Wait. Don't peek.
Nice.
They gave me no choice. Make peace with yourself before you pull the trigger. No one else can judge you.
Gotta go.
Gun here.
Go, go, go.
Gun here.
Move.
Blinding prepped. Flashing.
See.
Spike drop.
Go, go, go.
I got the spike.
Flash placed. Flashing.
Cover going out.
And fast. Here you spike.
Plant the
Caution
spike.
here.
Parasite.
Plant the spike.
There.
Gotta go.
Plant the spike.
Take this.
Cover going out.
Sword activated.
Reloading. Spike planted.
Please. Blinding.
One enemy remaining.
Blinding.
Last player standing.
Here we go.
They think they know pain. They can't begin to comprehend.
I'm out of here.
I need this.
Let's keep our focus, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Lo tenemos, hermanos.
I'm out of here.
Placing wall trap.
Enemy spotted.
Rip
A.
and tear.
Still in sight.
Swords are live.
Flash placed. Blinding.
Gotta go.
My ult's ready. Reloading.
Shadows.
Locating target.
They will cower.
I'm out of here.
Unimportant.
Go, go, go.
Ha! My ultimate's ready.
Or spike down. Go, go, go. I
Spike
got
down
spike.
A. One enemy remaining.
Shortcut. Gotta go.
Here, guys.
They brought weapons made of metal to kill me.
We can take them.
I need a weapon.
Need a drop. Thank you.
I need a weapon. Thanks.
Gotta go.
Even isn't good enough. Wall set. Launching thorns. Thorns are live. Enemy spotted.
Reloading.
A.
I'm out of here.
Blinding crack. Flashing.
Stealing sight.
Go, go, go. Gotta go.
Disappear.
Oh no.
Spike down A.
Spike.
Shadows traveling.
Flash
Maybe,
placed.
maybe rotate.
Blinding
Maybe
hit.
rotate. It's better. Rotate.
Reloading.
This is how it ends.
Rotate to C.
I got the spike. Target down.
You had your fun. My turn.
Thirty seconds left.
Be gone.
There.
Cover going out.
Spike planted.
Jesus.
One enemy remaining.
Shadows traveling.
Last player standing.
Ah no.
Clutch.
Ah.
Match point.
They don't have us. Need a drop.
We go C or we repeat A again.
No more theory.
There.
Come with Spike. Vice.
I'm out of here.
Okay, we're coming.
Gotta go.
Reloading.
Go, go, go!
Block placed. Blinding.
Coming through!
Reloading.
I'm out of here.
The hunt begins.
Get out of my way!
Launching sword. Sword activated. They're alive.
Irrelevant.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Silence.
Defusing, defusing.
Clutch.
GG, very nice, very
was
nice.
fun.
I love you, Omen.
Switching sides. Overtime.
My burden never ends.
Now you are good.
Go, go, go! I'm
Don't
outta
peek,
here.
Just wait.
Then let's go all Odin and let's win this. Easy.
Cover going out.
See it, see. Rotate
Maybe
fast.
see.
Locating target. Two suppressed.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
Ah,
Switching sides. Match point.
My city needs me. I can't be away for long. Let's end this quickly.
Go A.
Yes.
Yes. Rush them.
I am everywhere.
All set.
Go, go, go!
Drone going out.
Gotta go!
Shadows traveling.
Reloading.
Caution here.
Blinding prep.
Shadows traveling.
Rotate fast. Go B also.
I have
Spike
the
drop.
spike.
I'm out of here. Gotta go!
I have the
drop.
spike.
Flashing.
Reloading.
Go, go, go!
They're on B.
Spike planted. Blinding. There. Parasite.
One enemy remaining.
Gotta go!
There.
There.
I'm out of here.
That's the job. Get used to it.
Blinding.
Switching sides. Overtime.
Strike at their weak points.
I'm out of here.
Fix the rest will follow.
I will go see and come back if you need help.
Watch your step.
Go, go, see.
Cover going out.
There.
Pathetic.
Launching missile.
Spike planted.
Reloading.
Colgó los guayos.
Blinding.
There. There.
Last player standing. One enemy
That's a
remaining.
kill.
Ah, yeah. No.
Switching sides. Match point.
Their lives are so meaningless. Might as well give them to me.
Gun here.
Placing wall trap. Blinding trap. Flashing.
Go, go, go! Gotta go! I'm out of here!
Spike down. C.
Shame. Reloading. Wall tripped.
Go away!
Reloading. There.
I'm out of here!
Tragic. Reloading.
30 seconds left.
Flash placed. My ultimate
Coming through! Go, go, go!
Bring me the arsenal! Rip and tear. Launching thorns. Thorns active.
Last player standing. 10 seconds left.
Spike planted!
One enemy
Spike,
remaining.
move! My ult's ready!
Wood.
Gotta go! Take this!
Sorry.
Defenders win.
صار ما شايفوني ما شايفتش حل ماشي
only to principalities. In doing so, I will keep to the order indicated above, and discuss how such principalities are to be ruled and preserved. I say at once there are fewer difficulties in holding hereditary states, and those long accustomed to the family of their prince, than new ones, for it is sufficient only not to transgress the customs of his ancestors, and to deal prudently with circumstances as they arise, for a prince of average powers to maintain himself in his state, unless he be deprived of it by some extraordinary and excessive force, and if he should be so deprived of it, whenever anything sinister happens to the usurper, he will regain it. We have in Italy, for example, the Duke of Ferrara, who could not have withstood the attacks of the Venetians in 84, nor those of Pope Julius in 10, unless he had been long established in his dominions. For the hereditary prince has less cause and less necessity to offend, hence it happens that he will be more loved, and unless extraordinary vices cause him to be hated, it is reasonable to expect that his subjects will be naturally well disposed towards him, and in the antiquity and duration of his rule, the memories and motives that make for change are lost, for one change always leaves the two thing for another. Chapter 3. Concerning mixed principalities. But if the difficulties occur in a new principality, and firstly, if it be not entirely new, but is, as it were, a member of a state which, taken collectively, may be called composite, the changes arise chiefly from an inherent difficulty which there is in all new principalities. For men change their rulers willingly, hoping to better themselves, and this hope induces them to take up arms against him who rules, wherein they are deceived, because they afterwards find by experience that they have gone from bad to worse. This follows also on another natural and common necessity, which always causes a new prince to burden those who have submitted to him with his soldiery, and with infinite other hardships which he must put upon his new acquisition. In this way you will have enemies in all those whom you have injured in seizing the principality, and you are not able to keep those friends who put you there, because of your not being able to satisfy them in the way they expected, and you cannot take strong measures against them, feeling bound to them. For although one may be very strong in armed forces, yet in entering a province one has always need of the goodwill of the natives. For these reasons Louis XII, King of France, quickly occupied Milan, and as quickly lost it, and had to turn him out the first time it only needed Ludovico's own forces, because those who had opened the gates to him, finding themselves deceived in their hopes of future benefit, would not endure the ill treatment of the new prince. It is very true that, after acquiring rebellious provinces a second time, they are not so lightly lost afterwards, because the prince, with little reluctance, takes the opportunity of rebellion to punish the delinquents, to clear out the suspects, and to strengthen himself in the weakest places. Thus, to cause France to lose Milan, for the first time it was enough for Duke Ludovico to raise the insurrections on the borders, but to cause him to lose it a second time, it was necessary to bring the whole world against him, and that his army should be defeated and driven out of Italy, which followed from the causes above mentioned. Nevertheless, Milan was taken from France both the first and second time. The general reasons for the first have been discussed. It remains to name those for the second, and see what resources he had, and what anyone in his situation would have had for maintaining himself more securely in his acquisition than did the King of France. Now I say that those dominions which, when acquired, are added to an ancient state by him who acquires them, are either of the same country and language, or they are not. When they are, it is easier to hold them, especially when they have not been accustomed to self-government, and to hold them securely is enough to have destroyed the family of the prince who was ruling them, because the two peoples, preserving in other things the old conditions, and not being unlike in customs, will live quietly together, as one has seen in Brittany, Burgundy, Gascony and Normandy, which have been bound to France for so long a time, and, although there may be some difference in language, nevertheless the customs are alike, and the people will easily be able to get on amongst themselves. He who has annexed them, if he wishes to hold them, has only to bear in mind two considerations. The one, that the family of their former lord is extinguished; the other, that neither their laws nor their taxes are altered, so that in a very short time they will become entirely one body with the old principality. But when states are acquired in a country differing in language, customs, or laws, there are difficulties, and good fortune and great energy are needed to hold them, and one of the greatest and most real helps would be that he who has acquired them should go and reside there. This would make his position more secure and durable, as it has made that of the Turk in Greece, who, notwithstanding all other measures taken by him for holding that state, if he had not settled there, would not have been able to keep it. Because if one is on the spot, disorders are seen as they spring up, and one can quickly remedy them. But if one is not at hand, and they are heard of only when they are great, one can no longer remedy them. Besides this, the country is not pillaged by your officials. The subjects are satisfied by prompt recourse to the prince. Thus, wishing to be good, they have more cause to love him, and wishing to be otherwise, to fear him.
I don't know.
He who would attack that state from the outside must have the utmost caution. As long as the prince resides there, it can only be wrested from him with the greatest difficulty. The other and better course is to send colonies to one or two places, which may be as keys to that state, for it is necessary either to do this, or to else keep there a great number of cavalry and infantry. A prince does not spend much on colonies, for with little or no expense he can send them out and keep them there, and he offends a minority only of the citizens from whom he takes lands and houses to give them to the new inhabitants, and those whom he offends, remaining poor and scattered, are never able to injure him, whilst the rest, being uninjured, are easily kept quiet, and at the same time are anxious not to err, for fear should it happen to them as it has to those who have been despoiled. In conclusion, I say that these colonies are not costly, they are more faithful, they injure less, and the injured, as has been said, being poor and scattered, cannot hurt. Upon this, one has to remark that men ought to be either well treated or crushed, because they avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones, they cannot. Therefore the injury that is done to a man ought to be of such a kind that one does not stand in fear of revenge. But in maintaining armed men there in place of colonies, one spends much more, having to consume on the garrison all the income from the state, so that the acquisition turns into a loss, and many more are exasperated, because the whole state is injured. Through the shifting of the garrison up and down, all become acquainted with hardship, and all become hostile, and they are enemies who, whilst beaten on their own ground, are able yet to do hurt. For every reason, therefore, such guards are as useless as a colony is useful. Again, the prince who holds a country differing in the above respects ought to make himself the head and defender of his less powerful neighbours, and to weaken the more powerful amongst them, taking care that no foreigner as powerful as himself shall, by any accident, get a footing there, for it will always happen that such a one will be introduced by those who are discontented, either through excessive ambition or through fear, as one has seen already. The Romans were brought to Greece by the Aetolians, and in every other country where they obtained a footing, they were brought in by the inhabitants.
I'm down for whatever.
And the usual course of...
I'm gonna sit in A actually.
No, A's my spot.
What?
Go mid or B.
Mid, ew. No, I'll go B.
Fact.
Go, go, go!
I'm a boy.
Oh yeah, it's not an emo boy, it's like an emo bot.
Fuck you.
No, not you. The cipher. Ah.
Gecko B.
Yeah, I heard shots B on the way.
Gotta go!
Enemy B.
If you get shot, try to hide so I can heal.
Enemies are B.
Oh, that's
Mosh pit.
Go, go, go!
Enemy B. Nice.
Dizzy's up.
Spike down.
Dizzy has targets. Found you. Sit down.
Another one.
One enemy
Back up,
remaining.
loading.
Good stuff, everyone.
Reloading.
I'm out of here.
She's not there.
Yeah, they might be maybe.
Flawless.
Beautiful.
Gotta go!
No one left to send a message. Oh well.
We won because we were focused.
Keep that.
I actually don't know. It's on B side.
mean, that first script you did worked pretty well.
I'm actually surprised.
Funny that they just decided to walk into it. Like, the sage wall's there doesn't mean it blocks your trip.
Go, go, go!
Hey. Smoke save. Clove, Gecko A.
Enemy spotted A.
Stabbing my wall. Spike down.
Enemy
Spike
spotted
down A.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
Dizzy's up top. Spike spotted.
Gotta go!
Flawless.
Nice.
I'm out of here.
Reloading. Will they try the same old tricks?
That's funny, Omen. I saw the panic as you peeked her. I saw your screen shake side to side on the mini-map. You still got the kill though, so well done, Omen.
Close smoke B.
Gig was B, gig.
I'm out of here.
Watch mid cycle.
Reyna's mid.
My camera is destroyed. Hold it.
Nice.
Enemies are B.
Go, go, go!
Careful now.
Go, go, go!
Spike planted.
He's playing with orb, guys. Be careful, be careful. Cycle. One down.
Last player standing.
50 Reyna. She heals and also this was annoying.
They found my wire. Cage triggered.
Behind you. Reyna's in your cage. You saw Reyna come out?
Nice try.
Hi! Fight's not over, you know.
Reloading.
I have 56% hit.
I'm out of here.
Out of how many hits?
Wait, I have 36% hit hit.
Gotta go!
Hit the total.
Well, it's still a good percentage.
I will rip the light from them.
Any info?
Ah, the baby.
Dizzy has targets.
Damn. So satisfying with Dizzy.
Change your pace, Cypher is not good.
I'm lagging.
Gecko has up. They're rotating, I think. Well, one's pushed back to me. Rotating.
One dead.
Both, one of them went back to B, the other one started to rotate. I don't know what they're doing.
30 seconds left.
Check right, Cypher.
B.
Please be.
Takes 4 seconds to plant.
10 seconds left.
Gecko stink planting.
Last player standing.
They don't
Spike
have time.
down
Stay
B.
hidden, stay hidden.
Clutch.
You copies are nothing.
See, you nearly gave that away, bro.
I find them.
Yeah.
I kill them.
Told you to stay
Simple
hidden
as
for a
that.
reason. Also, good job shooting the wingman thing and stopping the plant.
Gotta go!
I have two.
Go, go, go!
Because
I'll show them. Lintik kayo.
The hunt begins.
Enemy B.
Careful of raining mid.
Let's go.
Watch out!
Enemy B.
Spike down B.
Camera taken out.
Yeah, it was right.
One enemy remaining.
She's mid, near A, but we've got Spike, so I'm not dealing with her.
It's all you, little homie. It's all you, Mosh.
Trash is ready.
30 seconds left.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Just say.
My wall's down. Yeah, she's
10 seconds left.
I got jump scared.
Well, she doesn't have time either way. I'm going for a stroll.
My oh, please take it.
See, this
I
is why I
feel
go for a
good.
stroll. I'm not giving her an
That's
ace.
weird.
Can someone buy me, please? Appreciate it.
Yeah, they're not gonna ace. That's
Thank
fine.
you, Sage. Thank you.
No worries. But yeah, see? We have Spike. We've got time on
Go,
our
go,
side.
go!
I'm going for a stroll.
I'll buy you next time.
Yeah, no worries, go.
Maybe they're about. Gotta go! Get out of my way!
A. Steps A. Might just be one.
Gotcha.
Both smokes A. Jet might have just tried to be taken. Yeah, both A. Cypher, can you check your cam again?
Check.
Hey.
Healing you. Reloading.
Clove was here, she might have rotated back. Gecko.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Gotta go! Taken out.
That's Gecko on the right.
Take this! Go, go, go! This way!
Someone is A.
30 seconds left. Spike down A. One enemy
My
remaining.
ultimate is ready.
Last player standing.
My ultimate is ready.
Nice, very nice.
Sheesh.
Spike is here.
Give me a moment.
I was gonna try
I
and
need
play
to
for
set the
time,
cup.
considering she won't be able to reach the spike. But walking into my crosshair works too.
I'm gonna go A this time.
Can someone buy me, please?
Visite no Jardim dos Heróis o Memorial da Espada e do Escudo, dedicado àquela que conteve a maré e que serviu de inspiração para a cúpula que agora nos protege a
No
todos.
thanks.
I'm out of here!
Maybe next round.
My ultimate is ready.
Actually, here you go. Oh wait, you're up there, never mind.
Steps A.
Reloading.
A lot of steps A.
I'm out of here!
One time I don't go.
Careful now.
Trying to plant. Good job.
Go, go, go!
Spike planted.
Blow him up, Mosh.
They found my wire.
Up and away.
Gadget fun! My turn!
One enemy remaining.
3 out of 5. Wingman's defusing.
Wall raised.
Just in case he tried to stop it.
Wingman for the win. They're usually distracted once I reveal them. Make sure you take advantage.
Gotta go!
See, that's why I put Jose.
Oh, that gecko went. Oh yeah, he's.
Gotta go!
I will be their nightmare.
Any sounds? Oh, one of them dropped the spike on B. They threw it to someone.
No sounds in A. Side
Might
is
be
it's big.
rotating,
It's big.
but
Go, go, go! I'm out of here!
is it A or?
Nothing on A yet.
That's just
What?
for defense. It might be mid.
I hear steps.
Check left.
Yeah, they're going A. They're going A. They're going A. They're going A.
Ah, my eyes are down. Your duty is not over.
Oh, for God's sake!
Last player standing.
My bad, Omen. I didn't think she'd still be there. Like, why was she still there?
What will it be this time?
Can
Have
someone
any
buy me,
patterns
please?
I thought
emerged
she
yet?
rotated back.
I'm gonna save.
Go, go, go!
Ratty for real, for real.
Gotta go! I'm out of here! Forward!
Reloading.
There!
Rainer and
Enemy
Jet
B.
along. Smokes B.
Watch out for mid.
Dizzy's up top.
Cover going out.
They shot a small gap through the wall.
For you! There!
B club, B club. They might be rotating back to mid. Careful, Cypher. Wall's going.
Someone is mid.
Gotta go! I'm out of here!
20.
Going for A.
30 seconds left.
Check Sage. Check right.
Steps. I think.
Are you saying to?
Jet A.
Found my wire.
Yep, A. Let's go. It takes 4 seconds to plant. If we can just stop the plant, we win.
10 seconds
Go, go,
left.
go!
They've. Wait, one of them's rotated back. We've won.
I'm out of here!
She wasted time.
Up you go.
What the hell?
Just like
I'll make them remember.
Can someone buy me, please? Can someone buy me, please?
Omen, I can buy you a proper gun request. Unless you want Bulldog Omen.
Can someone buy me?
Gun here!
Please?
Here is a guardian here, if you want it.
Bro, I don't want to buy you an operator. It's gonna mess up the creds. I'm
Come,
sorry.
come.
Get out of my way!
Get out of her way.
Gotta go!
Well, she's here. Clove, Jet, Reyna here at wall, so they might. Oh, they're breaking my wall.
Dizzy's
I
up.
made a gap in my wall, but it was a very bad one.
Somebody's there.
Go, go, go!
Enemy B.
Oh.
Reloading.
Wall's going down soon.
Maybe. Do that.
Oh, they're pushing B.
Annihilated.
Push B. I don't know.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
She's the last one. Play together. Don't peek her. She's got up. She's the one with Spike. Wait for her.
Last player standing.
Bro.
Oh, nice one. You deserve a good
I am not
sage.
just your healer.
Omen, did you blind or was it Reyna?
I'm over them.
Nobody knows.
I got blinded before.
Can someone buy me, please?
By something.
Appreciate it.
Gotta go!
I was gonna say, I don't think it was open based off of where he threw his stuff. Like, it would have been a very interesting positioning.
I know. I just saw a lot of
Where
people
are you?
that died.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Reyna.
The hunt begins.
She's hunting. There are smokes on B. Oh my god. She did it through the smoke. They're pushing B. I repeat, they're pushing B.
Gotta go!
Get down. Where is everyone hiding?
On the right of my wall.
I'm out of here!
Clove still there.
Still in sight.
Careful, she has off. Try not to peek her. Wait for Cypher to flank.
Enemy spotted B.
I'm just shooting for boys.
Cover going out.
Jeez, what the fuck? She peeked like she knew I was there.
Thirty seconds left.
Hey guys, hey, step.
Go, go, go! Go, go, go!
Spike planted.
They're behind the wall, her wall.
Here we go! Too slow!
Last player standing.
Damn.
Crazy.
Last round in the half.
Spend
Someone buy me, please.
Need a drop.
Funny.
Tem alguma questão sobre o Jardim dos Heróis? Os nossos guias estão dispostos a ajudar.
I'm out of here!
Jet is very weird. So is that Sage, actually. I'm a little sus of the Sage.
Go, go, go!
Jet's just weird.
Go, go, go!
Smoke speed. Don't really know
To
what.
come fucking A roll. I want that.
There!
Enemies are B.
Barrier created.
One of them's pushed up closer. Two of them have pushed up towards my wall. One of them's rotating back towards mid, I think.
There!
B close. Sound. Nice, you got
Spike down mid.
Gotta go!
I knew I could hear her.
I'm out
Oh,
of here!
one was mid, I can hear them. Omen on your right.
Watch out! Coming through!
Probably Reyna, she's the weirdo. Oh, sorry.
Gotta go!
30 seconds left.
Where was the spike? Gotcha. Thank you.
Hey.
Get out of my way!
One enemy
Takes 4
remaining.
seconds to plant, just play time.
Spike down A.
Yeah, kill shot A.
Yeah, good job.
She can't make it.
No time to plant, good job.
I just push her last round anyway. Push her.
I'm out of here!
Switching sides.
Reloading. He says their bullets tickle.
I'm out of here!
Guys, shift.
We will reveal their secrets.
Shift. Don't use anything from your ability.
Oh no, God.
Enemy B.
Get on site, Care. You've got Spike Echo, remember.
Plant the spike, Wings. Up and away.
Reloading. This way!
Reloading.
Barrier created.
Spike planted.
Thanks, Wings.
Found you.
Flank.
Reloading.
Go, go, go!
He's low, but so am I.
Gecko's gone.
I'm out of here!
Camera taken out.
Next heal in 30, sorry, had self heal.
Reloading.
They're pushing.
I've still got time on my side.
Top.
A few more seconds.
Got him.
Good job.
One enemy remaining.
Nice, good.
Squeak.
Alright, homies, chill. We'll go again. Damn, you love being here. Like, way too much.
Gotta go!
Let's see how it goes.
Go, go, go!
Jazz per usual.
Enemy B.
There.
Judge is not normal. Seriously.
For you. Reloading.
Next heal in 30, sorry.
Someone is beat.
Here.
This is up top.
Unavoidable.
Someone's there. Enemy B.
I'm out of here.
Had to wall flank for safety.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Here.
One enemy remaining.
Can you use Wingman?
Wingman's planting.
Use her shots to see where she comes from.
This way.
Dizzy's up.
Okay, on the right.
Gotta go.
Spike's sticking. Thanks, little man.
That
You go,
was
go.
crazy, I shouldn't have gotten that kill.
I am a mountain. My
I
ultimate
headshot,
is
but I
ready.
didn't- I didn't- I didn't
We
know that
are
headshot.
crazy.
That was crazy.
Reloading.
Let's play ops, guys.
Bro, how can I get flick headshots with an op?
They are too easy.
Nah, I like my own vandal now. Sorry.
Go, go, go!
Bro, I've got a bulldog. Why do you want?
I'm out of here.
What is happening?
Many enemies B.
We could just leave.
Come back.
Gecko, let's go.
What the fuck? I got jump scared.
Gotta go. Your duty is not over.
For a moment, I saw them.
Running low.
Oh, bots roll out.
Dust.
Oh, bots keep rolling out.
Go, go, go.
Shadows traveling.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Coming through.
Spotted A.
She has off.
Stealing
Spike. Spike planted. Thanks, Wings.
One's flanking from our spawn.
Enemy removed.
Take this.
3 HP right now. I apologize in advance for anything. Don't peek the op. Don't peek the op.
Raise up beacons. Push up. How?
They found my wire.
One on your trip. The other's op. Playtime if we can.
In a shitty position.
One enemy remaining.
I slowed, but I'm not peeking.
Watch this.
In my slow.
Cage triggered.
Last player standing.
There we go.
Nice.
No 120.
Reset.
Match point.
Keep doing what we're doing, and we got it.
At least I got my assist from you.
I'm out of here.
Can someone buy me, please?
See, Gecko, this is why I said don't peek the op. Even though she killed you with a classic, but we're gonna ignore that part.
Shh, never
I
happened.
want to knife her. Okay.
Ah, I see.
Through the calm, I see.
Reloading.
Through the storm, I fight.
Shadows traveling.
Don't block me, Omen, don't block me.
What? Wasn't. What is going on?
Wait. Okay.
Go, go, go. Go away.
Good job.
Reloading.
Gecko's right. He's a battle on my belt.
Crash got him. Up and away.
I might try and flank you guys,
Busy.
but she's pretty
Plant the
far.
spike, Wings. Enemy B.
Coming through.
Spike sticking. Thanks, little man.
Someone is
One
B.
enemy remaining.
Good job.
For a break.
Attackers win.
What did I say? Don't mess with me.
of affairs is that, as soon as a powerful foreigner enters a country, all the subject states are drawn to him, moved by the hatred which they feel against the ruling power. So in that respect, to those subject states he is not to take any trouble to gain them over to himself, for the whole of them quickly rally to the state which he has acquired there. He has only to take care that they do not get hold of too much power and too much authority, and then with his own forces, and with their goodwill, he can easily keep down the more powerful of them, as to remain entirely master in the country, and he who does not properly manage this business will soon lose what he has acquired, and whilst he does it, he will have endless difficulties and troubles. The Romans, in the countries which they annexed, observed closely these measures. They sent colonies and maintained friendly relations with the minor powers, without increasing their strength. They kept down the greater, and did not allow any strong foreign powers to gain authority. Greece appears to me sufficient for an example. The Achaeans and the Aetolians were kept friendly by them, but the kingdom of Macedonia was humbled. Antiochus was driven out, yet the merits of the Achaeans and the Aetolians never secured for them permission to increase their power, nor did the persuasions of Philip ever induce the Romans to be his friends without first humbling him, nor did the influence of Antiochus make them agree that he should retain any lordship over the country, because the Romans did in these instances what all prudent princes ought to do, who have to regard not only present troubles, but also future ones, for which they must prepare with every energy, because, when foreseen, it is easy to remedy them, but if you wait until they approach, the medicine is no longer in time, because the malady has become incurable. For it happens in this, as the physicians say, it happens in a hectic fever, that in the beginning of the malady it is easy to cure, but difficult to detect, but in the course of time, not having either been detected or treated in the beginning, it becomes easy to detect, but difficult to cure. This it happens in affairs of state, for when the evils that arise that have been foreseen, which it is only given to a wise man to see, they can be quickly redressed. But when, though not having been foreseen, they have been permitted to grow in a way that everyone can see them, there is no longer a remedy. Therefore the Romans, foreseeing troubles, dealt with them at once, and, even to avoid a war, would not let them come to a head, for they knew that war is not to be avoided, but it is only to be put off to the advantage of others. Moreover, they wished to fight with Philip and Antiochus in Greece, so not to have to do so in Italy. They could have avoided both, but this they did not wish, nor did that ever please them which is ever in the mouths of the wise ones of our time. Let us enjoy the benefits of the time, but rather the benefits of their own valour and prudence, for time drives everything before it, and is able to bring with it the good as well as the evil, and the evil as well as the good. But let us turn to France, and inquire whether she has done any of the things mentioned. I will speak of Louis XII, and not of Charles VIII, as the one whose conduct is the better to be observed, he having held possession of Italy for the longest period, and you will see that he has done the opposite to those things which ought to be done to retain a state composed of diverse elements. King Louis was brought into Italy by the ambitions of the Venetians, who desired to obtain half the state of Lombardy by his intervention. I will not blame the course taken by the king, because wishing to get a foothold in Italy, and having no friends there, seeing rather that every door was shut to him owing to the conduct of Charles, he was forced to accept those friendships which he could get, and he would have succeeded very quickly in his design, if in other matters he had not made some mistakes. The king, however, having acquired Lombardy, regained at once the authority which Charles had lost. Genoa yielded, the Florentines became his friends, the Marquis of Mantua, the Duke of Ferrara, the Bentivogli, my Lady of Forli, the Lords of Faenza, of Pesaro, of Rimini, of Camerino, of Piombino, of Lucchese, the Pisans, the Sienese. Everybody made advances to him to become his friend. Then could the Venetians realize the rashness of the course taken by them, which, in order that they might secure 2 towns in Lombardy, they had made the king the master of 2/3 of Italy. Let anyone now consider with what little difficulty the king could have maintained his position in Italy, had he observed the rules above laid down, and kept all his friends secure and protected, for although they were numerous, they were both weak and timid, some afraid of the church, some of the Venetians, and thus they would always have been forced to stand in with him, and by their means he could easily have made himself secure against those who remained powerful. But he was no sooner in Milan than he did the contrary, by assisting Pope Alexander to occupy the Romagna. It never occurred to him that by this action he was weakening himself, depriving himself of friends, and of those who had thrown themselves into his lap, whilst he aggrandized the church by adding much temporal power to the spiritual, thus giving it greater authority. And having committed this prime error, he was obligated to follow it up, so much so that, to put an end to the ambition of Alexander, and to prevent his becoming the master of Tuscany, he was forced himself to come to Italy. And, as if it were not enough to have aggrandized the church and deprived himself of friends, he, wishing to have the kingdom of Naples, divides it with the king of Spain, and where he was the prime arbiter in Italy, he takes an associate, so that the ambitious of that country and the malcontents of his own should have somewhere to shelter, and whereas he could have left the kingdom his own pensioner as king, he drove him out, to put one there who was able to drive him, Louis, out in turn. The wish to acquire is in truth very natural and common, and men always do so when they can, and for this they will be praised and not blamed. Yet when they cannot do so, yet wish to do so by any means, then there is folly and blame. Therefore, if France could have attacked Naples with her own forces, she ought to have done so. If she could not, then she ought not to have divided it. And if the partition which she had made with the Venetians and Lombardy was justified by the excuse that by it she got a foothold in Italy, this other partition merited blame, for it had not the excuse of that necessity. Therefore Louis made these 5 errors. He destroyed the minor powers. He increased the strength of one of the greater powers in Italy. He brought in a foreign power. He did not settle in the country. He did not send colonies. Which errors, had he lived, were not enough to injure him, had he not made a 6th, by taking away their dominions from the Venetians. Because, had he not aggrandized the church, nor brought Spain into Italy, it would have been very reasonable and necessary to humble them. But having first taken these steps, he ought never have consented to their ruin, for they, being powerful, would always have kept off others from designs on Lombardy, to which the Venetians would never have consented, except to become the masters themselves there. Also because the others would not wish to take Lombardy from France in order to give it to the Venetians, and to run counter to both, they would not have had the courage. And if anyone should say, King Louis yielded the Romagna to Alexander and the kingdom of Spain to avoid war, I answer for the reasons given above that a blunder ought never to be perpetrated to avoid war, because it is not to be avoided, but is only deferred to your disadvantage. And if another should allege the pledge which the king had given the Pope that he would assist him in the enterprise, in exchange for the dissolution of his marriage and for the cap to Rouen, to that I reply what I shall write later on, concerning the faith of princes and how it ought to be kept. Thus King Louis lost Lombardy, by not having followed any of the conditions observed by those who have taken possession of countries and wished to retain them. Nor is there any miracle in this, but much that is reasonable and quite natural. And on these matters I spoke at Nantes with Rouen, and when Valentino, as Cæsar Borgia, the son of the Pope Alexander, was usually called, occupied the Romagna, and on Cardinal Rouen, observing to me that the Italians did not understand war, I replied to him that the French did not understand statecraft, meaning that otherwise they would not have allowed the Church to reach such greatness. And in fact it had been seen that the greatness of the Church and of Spain in Italy had been caused by France, and her ruin may be attributed to them. From this, a general rule is drawn, which never or rarely fails, that he who is the cause of another becoming powerful is ruined, because that predominancy has been brought about either by astuteness or else by force, and both are distrusted by him who has been raised to power. Chapter 4. Why the kingdom of Darius, conquered by Alexander, did not rebel against the successors of Alexander at his death. Considering the difficulties which men have to hold on to a newly acquired state, one might wonder how, seeing that Alexander the Great became master of Asia in a few years, and died whilst it was scarcely settled, whence it might appear reasonable that the whole empire would have rebelled, nevertheless his successors maintained themselves, and had to meet no other difficulty than which arose amongst themselves, from their own ambitions. I answer that the principalities of which one has record are found to be governed in 2 ways, either by a prince with a body of servants who assist him to govern the kingdom as ministers by his favour and permission, or by a prince and barons, who hold that dignity by antiquity of blood, and not by the grace of the prince. Such barons have states in their own subjects, who recognise them as lords and hold them in natural affection. Those states that are governed by a prince and his servants hold their prince in more consideration, because in all the country there is no one who is recognised as superior to him, and yet if they yield obedience to another, they do it as to a minister and an official, and they do not bear him any particular affection. Examples of these 2 governments in our time are the Turk and the King of France. The entire monarchy of the Turk is governed by one lord, but the others are his servants, and dividing his kingdom into sanjaks, he sends there different administrators, and shifts and changes them as he chooses. But the King of France is placed in the midst of an ancient body of lords, acknowledged by their own subjects and beloved by them. They have their own prerogatives, nor can the king take these away except at his peril. Therefore, he who considers both of these states will recognize great difficulties in seizing the state of the Turk, but once it is conquered, great ease in holding it. The cause of the difficulties in seizing the kingdom of the Turk are that the usurper cannot be called in by the princes of the kingdom, nor can he hope to be assisted in his designs by the revolt of those whom the Lord has around him. This arises from the reasons given above, for his ministers, all being slaves and bondsmen, can only be corrupted with great difficulty, and one can expect little advantage from them once they have been corrupted, as they cannot carry the people with them, for the reasons assigned. Hence, he who attacks the Turks must bear in mind that he will find him united, and will not have to rely more on his own strength than on the revolt of others. But if the Turk has been conquered, and routed in the field in such a way that he cannot replace his armies, there is nothing to fear but the family of the prince, and this, being exterminated, there remains no one to fear, the others having no credit with the people, and as the conqueror did not rely on them before his victory, so he ought not to fear them after it. The contrary happens in kingdoms governed like that of France, because one can easily enter there by gaining over some baron of the kingdom, for one always finds malcontents and such as desire a change. Such men, for the reasons given, can open up the way into the state and render the victory easy. But if you wish to hold it afterwards, you meet with infinite difficulties, both from those who have assisted you and from those you have crushed. Nor is it enough for you to have exterminated the family of the prince, because the lords that remain make themselves the heads of fresh movements against you, and as you are unable either to satisfy or exterminate them, that state is lost whenever time brings the opportunity. Now if you will consider what is the nature of the government of Darius, you will find it similar to the kingdom of the Turk, and therefore it was only necessary for Alexander first to overthrow him in the field, and then to take the country from him, after which victory, Darius being killed, the state remained secure to Alexander for the above reasons, and if his successors had been united, they would have enjoyed it securely and at their ease, for there were no tumults raised in the kingdom except those they provoked themselves. But it is impossible to hold with such tranquillity states constituted like that of France. Hence arose those frequent rebellions against the Romans in Spain, France, and Greece, owing to the many principalities there were in these states, of which, as long as the memory of them endured, the Romans always held in insecure possession. But with the power and long continuance of the empire, the memory of them passed away, and the Romans then became the secure possessors. And when fighting afterwards amongst themselves, each one was able to attach to himself his own parts of the country, according to the authority he had assumed there, and the family of the former lord being exterminated, none other than the Romans were acknowledged. When these things are remembered, no one will marvel at the ease with which Alexander held the empire of Asia, or at the difficulties which others had to keep in acquisition, such as Pyrrhus and many more. This is not occasioned by the little or abundance of ability in the conqueror, but by the want of uniformity in the subject state. Chapter 5. Concerning the way to govern cities or principalities which lived under their own laws before they were annexed. Whenever those states which have been acquired, as stated, have been accustomed to live under their own laws and in freedom, there are three courses for those who wish to hold them. The first is to ruin them. The next is to reside there in person. The third is to permit them to live under their own laws, drawing a tribute and establishing it within an oligarchy which will keep it friendly to you. Because such a government, being created by the prince, knows it cannot stand without his friendship and interest, and it does the utmost to support him. And therefore he who would keep a city accustomed to freedom will hold it more easily by the means of its own citizens than any other way. There are, for example, the Spartans and the Romans. The Spartans held Athens and Thebes, establishing there an oligarchy. Nevertheless, they lost them. The Romans, in order to hold Capua, Carthage, and Numantia, dismantled them and did not lose them. They wished to hold Greece as the Spartans held it, making it free and permitting its laws, and did not succeed. So to hold it, they were compelled to dismantle many cities in the country. For in truth there is no safe way to retain them otherwise by ruining them. And he who becomes master of a city accustomed to freedom and does not destroy it, may expect to be destroyed by it. For in rebellion it has always the watchword of liberty, and its ancient privileges as a rallying point, which neither time nor benefits will ever cause it to forget. And whatever you may do or provide against, they never forget that name or their privileges unless they are disunited or dispersed. But at every chance they immediately rally to them, as Pisa after the 100 years as she had been held in bondage by the Florentines. But when cities or countries are accustomed to live under a prince, and his family is exterminated, they, being on the one hand accustomed to obey, and on the other not having the old prince, cannot agree in making one from amongst themselves, and they do not know how to govern themselves. For this reason they are very slow to take up arms, and a prince can gain them to himself and secure them much more easily. But in republics there is more vitality, greater hatred, and more desire for vengeance, which will never permit them to allow the memory of their former liberty to rest, so that the safest way is to destroy them or to reside there. Chapter 6. Concerning new principalities which are acquired by one's own arms and ability. Let no one be surprised if, in speaking of entirely new principalities, as I shall do, I adduce the highest examples of both prince and of state, because men, walking almost always in paths beaten by others, and following by imitation of their deeds, are yet unable to keep entirely to the ways of others, or attain to the power of those they imitate. A wise man ought always to follow the paths beaten by great men, and to imitate those who have been supreme, so that if his ability does not equal theirs, at least it will savour of it. Let him act like the clever archers, who, designing to hit the mark which yet appears too far distant, and knowing the limits to which the strength of their bow attains, take aim much higher than the mark, not to reach by their strength or arrow so great a height, but to be able, with the aid of so high an aim, to hit the mark they wish to reach. I say, therefore, that in entirely new principalities, where there is a new prince, more or less difficulty is found in keeping them, accordingly as there is more or less ability in him who acquired the state. Now, as the fact of becoming a prince from a private station presupposes either ability or fortune, it is clear that one or other of these things will mitigate in some degree many difficulties. Nevertheless, he who has relied least on fortune is established the strongest. Further, it facilitates matters when the prince, having no other state, is compelled to reside there in person. But to come to those who, by their own ability and not through fortune, have risen to be princes, I say that Moses, Cyrus, Romulus, Theseus, and such like are the most excellent examples. And although one may not discuss Moses, he having been a mere executor of the will of God, yet he ought to be admired, if only for that favour which made him worthy to speak with God. But in considering Cyrus and the others, who have acquired or founded kingdoms, all will be found admirable, and if their particular deeds and conduct shall be considered, they will not be found inferior to those of Moses, although he had so great a preceptor. And in examining their actions and lives, one cannot see that they owed anything to fortune beyond opportunity, which brought them the material to mould into the form which seemed best to them. Without that opportunity their powers of mind would have been extinguished, and without those powers the opportunity would have come in vain. It was necessary, therefore, to Moses that he should find the people of Israel in Egypt enslaved and oppressed by the Egyptians, in order that they should be disposed to follow him, so as to be delivered out of bondage. It was necessary that Romulus should not remain in Alba, and that he should be abandoned at his birth, in order that he should become the king of Rome and founder of the fatherland. It was necessary that Cyrus should find the Persians discontented with the government of the Medes, and the Medes soft and effeminate through their long peace. Theseus could not have shown his ability had he not found the Athenians dispersed. These opportunities, therefore, made those men fortunate, and their high ability enabled them to recognize the opportunity whereby their country was ennobled and made famous. Those who by valorous ways become princes, like these men, acquire a principality with difficulty, but they keep it with ease. These difficulties they have in acquiring it rise in part from the new rules and methods which they are forced to introduce to establish their government and its security. And it ought to be remembered that there is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success, than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things, because the innovator has for enemies all those who have done well under the old conditions, and lukewarm defenders in those who may do well under the new. This coolness arises partly from the fear of the opponents, who have the laws on their side, and partly from the incredulity of men, who do not readily believe in new things until they have long experience of them. Thus it happens that whenever those who are hostile have the opportunity to attack, they do it like partisans, whilst the others defend lukewarmly, in such wise that the prince is endangered along with them. It is necessary, therefore, if we desire to discuss the matter thoroughly, to inquire whether these innovators can rely on themselves or have to depend on others. That is to say, whether to consummate their enterprise, have they to use prayers or can they use force? In the first instance, they always succeed badly, and never compass anything. But when they can rely on themselves and use force, then they are rarely endangered. Hence it is that all armed prophets have conquered, and the unarmed ones have been destroyed. Besides the reasons mentioned, the nature of the people is variable, and whilst it is easy to persuade them, it is difficult to fix them in that persuasion, and thus it is necessary to take such measures that, when they believe no longer, it may be possible to make them believe by force. If Moses, Cyrus, Theseus, and Romulus had been unarmed, they could not have enforced their constitutions for so long, as happened in our time to Fra Girolamo Savonarola, who was ruined with his new order of things immediately the multitude believed in him no longer, and he had no means of keeping steadfast those who believed or of making the unbelievers to believe. Therefore, such as these have great difficulties in consummating their enterprise, for all their dangers are yet in the ascent, yet with ability they will overcome them. But when these are overcome, and those who envied them their success are exterminated, they will begin to be respected, and they will continue afterwards powerful, secure, honoured, and happy. To these great examples I wish to add a lesser one. It still bears some resemblance to them, and I wish it to suffice me for all of a like kind. It is Hiero the Syracusan. This man rose from a private station to be the Prince of Syracuse, nor did he, either, owe anything to fortune but to opportunity, for the Syracusans, being oppressed, chose him for their captain. Afterwards he was rewarded by being made their prince. He was of so great ability, even as a private citizen, that one who writes of him says he wanted nothing but a kingdom to be a king. This man abolished the old soldiery, organized the new, gave up old alliances and made new ones, and as he had his own soldiers and allies, on such foundations he was able to build any edifice. Thus, while he had endured much trouble in acquiring, he had but little in keeping. Chapter 7. Concerning new principalities which are acquired by either the arms of others or by good fortune. Those who solely by good fortune become princes from being private citizens have little trouble in rising, but much trouble in keeping atop. They have not any difficulties on the way up, because they fly, but they have many when they reach the summit. Such are those whom some state is either given for money or by the favour of him who bestows it, as happened to many in Greece, in the cities of Ionia and of the Hellespont, where the princes were made by Darius, in order that they might hold the cities both for his security and his glory, as also were those emperors who, by the corruption of the soldiers, from being citizens came to empire. Such stand simply elevated upon the goodwill and fortune of him who has elevated them, two most inconstant and unstable things. Neither have they the knowledge requisite for the position, because, unless they are men of great worth and ability, it is not reasonable to expect that they should know how to command, having always lived in private condition. Besides, they cannot hold it, because they have not the forces which they can keep friendly and faithful. States that rise unexpectedly, then, like all other things in nature, which are born and grow rapidly, cannot leave their foundations and correspondences fixed in such a way that the first storm will not overthrow them, unless, as is said, those who unexpectedly become princes are men of so much ability that they know they have to be prepared at once to hold that which fortune has thrown into their laps, and that those foundations which others have laid before they became princes, they must lay afterwards. Concerning these two methods of rising to be a prince by ability or fortune, I wish to adduce two examples within our own recollection, and these are Francesco Sforza and Cesare Borgia. Francesco, by proper means and with great ability, from being a private person, rose to be Duke of Milan, and that which he had acquired with 1,000 anxieties, he kept with little trouble. On the other hand, Cesare Borgia, called by the people the Duke Valentino, acquired his state during the ascendancy of his father, and on its decline he lost it, notwithstanding that he had taken every measure and done all that ought to be done by a wise and able man to fix firmly his roots in the states, which the arms and fortunes of others had bestowed upon him. because, as is stated above, he who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building. If, therefore, all the steps taken by the Duke be considered, it will be seen that he laid solid foundations for his future power, and I do not consider it superfluous to discuss them, because I do not know what better precepts to give a new prince than the example of his actions. And if his dispositions were of no avail, that was not his fault, but the extraordinary and extreme malignity of fortune. Alexander VI, in wishing to aggrandize the Duke, his son, had many immediate and prospective difficulties. First, he did not see his way to make him master of any state that was not a state of the Church, and if he was willing to rob the Church, he knew that the Duke of Milan and the Venetians would not consent, because Faenza and Rimini were already under the protection of the Venetians. Besides this, he saw the arms of Italy, especially those by which he might have been assisted, in hands that would fear the aggrandizement of the Pope, namely the Orsini and the Colonnesi and their following. It behoved him, therefore, to upset the state of affairs and embroil their powers, so as to make himself securely master of part of their states. This was easy for him to do, because he found the Venetians, moved by other reasons, inclined to bring back the French into Italy. He would not only propose this, but he would render it more easy by dissolving the former marriage of King Louis. Therefore the king came into Italy with the assistance of the Venetians and the consent of Alexander. He was no sooner in Milan than the Pope had soldiers from him for the attempt on Romagna, which yielded to him on the reputation of the king. The Duke, therefore, having acquired Romagna and beaten the Colonnesi, while wishing to hold that and to advance further, was hindered by two things. The one, his forces did not appear to be loyal to him. The other, the goodwill of France. That is to say, he feared that the forces of the Orsini, which he was using, would not stand to him, that not only might they hinder him from winning more, but might themselves seize what he had won, and that the king might also do the same. Of the Orsini, he had a warning when, after taking Faenza and attacking Bologna, he saw them go very unwillingly to that attack. And as to the king, he learned his mind when he made himself, after taking the duchy of Urbino, attack Tuscany, and the king made him desist from that undertaking. Hence the Duke decided to depend no more on the arms and the luck of others. For the first thing, he weakened the Orsini and Colonnesi parties in Rome, by gaining to himself all their adherents who were gentlemen, making them his gentlemen, giving them good pay and, according to their rank, honouring them with office and command in such a way that in a few months all attachment to the factions was destroyed, and turned entirely to the Duke. After this, he awaited an opportunity to crush the Orsini, having scattered the adherents of the Colonna house. This came to him soon, and he used it well, for the Orsini, perceiving at length that the aggrandizement of the Duke and the Church was the ruin to them, called a meeting of the Magnoni in Perugia. From this sprung the rebellion at Urbino, and the tumults in the Romagna, with endless dangers to the Duke, all of which he overcame with the help of the French. Having restored his authority, not to leave it at risk by trusting either to the French or to other outside forces, he had recourse to his wiles, and he knew so well how to conceal his mind, that, by the mediation of Signor Pagolo, whom the Duke did not fail to secure with all kinds of attention, giving him money, apparel, and horses, the Orsini were reconciled, so that their simplicity brought them into his power at Sinigalia. Having exterminated the leaders, and turned their partisans into his friends, the Duke laid sufficiently good foundations to his power, having all the Romagna and the Duchy of Urbino, and all the people now beginning to appreciate their prosperity, he gained them all over to himself. And as this point is worthy of notice, and to be imitated by others, I am not willing to leave it out. When the Duke occupied the Romagna, he found it under the rule of weak masters, who rather plundered their subjects than ruled them, who gave them more cause for disunion than for union, so that the country was full of robbery, quarrels, and every kind of violence, and so, wishing to bring back peace and obedience to authority, he considered it necessary to give it a good governor, whereupon he promoted Messer Ramiro de Orco, a swift and cruel man, to whom he gave the fullest power. This man in a short time restored peace and unity with the greatest success. Afterwards the Duke considered that it was not advisable to confer such excessive authority, for he had no doubt but that he would become odious. So he set up a court of judgment in the country, under a most excellent president, wherein all cities had their advocates. And because he knew that the past severity had caused some hatred against himself, so to clear himself in the minds of the people, and to gain them entirely to himself, he desired to show that, if any cruelty had been practiced, it had not originated with him, but with the natural enemies of the minister. Under this pretense, he took Ramiro, and one morning caused him to be executed, and left on the piazza at Cesena, with the block and the bloody knife at his side. The barbarity of this spectacle caused the people to be at once satisfied and dismayed. But let us return whence we started. I say that the Duke, finding himself now sufficiently powerful, and partly secured from immediate dangers by having armed himself in his own way, and having in a great measure crushed those forces in his vicinity that could injure him, if he wished to proceed with his conquest, had next to consider France, for he knew that the king, who was too late aware of his mistake, would not support him. And from this time he began to seek new alliances, and to temporize with France in the expedition which she was making towards the kingdom of Naples against the Spaniards, who were besieging Gaeta. It was his intention to secure himself against them, and this he would quickly have accomplished had Alexander lived. Such was his line of action as to present affairs, but as to the future he had to fear, in the first place that a new successor to the church might not be friendly to him, and might seek to take from him that which Alexander had given him, so he decided to act in 4 ways. Firstly, by exterminating the families of those lords whom he had despoiled, as to take away that pretext from the Pope. Secondly, by winning to himself all the gentlemen of Rome, so as to be able to curb the Pope with their aid, as has been observed. Thirdly, by converting the college more to himself. Fourthly, by acquiring so much power before the Pope should die, that he could, by his own measures, resist the first shock. Of these 4 things at the death of Alexander, he had accomplished 3, for he had killed as many of the dispossessed lords as he could lay his hands on, and few had escaped. He had won over the Roman gentlemen, and he had the most numerous party in the college. And as to any fresh acquisition, he intended to become master of Tuscany, for he already possessed Perugia and Piombino, and Pisa was under his protection. And, as he had no longer to study France, for the French were already driven out of the kingdom of Naples by the Spaniards, and in this way both were compelled to buy his goodwill, he pounced down upon Pisa. After this, Lucca and Siena yielded at once, partly through hatred and partly through fear of the Florentines. And the Florentines would have had no remedy had he continued to prosper, as he was prospering the year that Alexander died, for he had acquired so much power and reputation that he would have stood by himself, and no longer have depended on the luck and the forces of others, but solely on his own power and ability. But Alexander died 5 years after he had first drawn the sword. He left the Duke with the state of Romagna alone consolidated, with the rest in the air, between 2 most powerful hostile armies, and sick unto death. Yet there were in the Duke such boldness and ability, and he knew so well how men are to be won or lost, and so firm the foundations which in so short a time he had laid, that if he had not had those armies on his back, or if he had been in good health, he would have overcome all difficulties. As it is seen that his foundations were good, for the Romagna waited for him for more than a month, in Rome, though but half alive, he remained secure, whilst in the Baglioni, the Vitelli, and the Orsini might come to Rome, they could not effect anything against him. If he could not have made Pope him whom he had wished, at least the one whom he did not wish would not have been elected. But if he had been in sound health at the death of Alexander, everything would have been different to him. On the day that Julius II was elected, he told me that he had thought of everything that might occur at the death of his father, and had provided a remedy for all, except that he had never anticipated that, when the death did happen, he himself would be on the point to die. When all the actions of the Duke are recalled, I do not know how to blame him, but rather it appears to be, as I have said, that I ought to offer him for imitation to all those who, by the fortune or arms of others, are raised to government, because he, having a lofty spirit and far-reaching aims, could not have regulated his conduct otherwise, and only the shortness of life of Alexander and his own sickness frustrated his designs. Therefore, he who considers it necessary to secure himself in his new principality, to win friends, to overcome either by force or fraud, to make himself beloved and feared by the people, to be followed and revered by the soldiers, to exterminate those who have power or reason to hurt him, to change the old order of things for new, to be severe and gracious, magnanimous and liberal, to destroy a disloyal soldiery and create new, to maintain friendship with kings and princes in such a way that they must help him with zeal and defend him with caution, cannot find a more lively example than the actions of this man. Only can he be blamed for the election of Julius II, in whom he made a bad choice, because, as it said, not being able to elect a pope to his own mind, he could have hindered any other from being elected pope, and he ought never to have consented to the election of any cardinal whom he had injured or who had cause to fear him, if they became pontiffs. For men injure either from fear or hatred. Those whom he had injured, amongst others, were San Pietro ad Vincula, Colonna, San Giorgio, and Ascanio. The rest, in becoming pope, had to fear him. Rouen and the Spaniards excepted, the latter from their relationship and obligations, the former from his influence, the kingdom of France having relations with him. Therefore, above everything, the Duke ought to have created a Spaniard pope, and failing him, he ought to have consented to Rouen, and not to San Pietro ad Vincula. He who believes that new benefits will cause great personages to forget old injuries is deceived. Therefore the Duke erred in his choice, and it was the cause of his ultimate ruin. Chapter 8. Concerning those who have obtained a principality by wickedness. Although a prince may rise from a private station in two ways, neither of which can be entirely attributed to fortune or genius, yet it is manifest to me that I must not be silent on them, although one could be more copiously treated when I discuss republics. These methods are when, either by some wicked or nefarious ways, one ascends to the principality, or when, by the favour of his fellow citizens, a private person becomes the prince of his country. And speaking of the first method, it will be illustrated by two examples, one ancient, the other modern, and without entering further into the subject, I consider these two examples will suffice for those who may be compelled to follow them. Agathocles the Sicilian became king of Syracuse, not only from a private, but from a low and abject position. This man, the son of a potter, through all the changes in his fortunes, always led an infamous life. Nevertheless, he accompanied his infamies with so much ability of mind and body, that, having devoted himself to the military profession, he rose through its ranks to be praetor of Syracuse. Being established in that position, and having deliberately resolved himself to make himself prince and to seize by violence, without obligation to others, that which had been conceded to him by assent, he came to an understanding for this purpose with Hamilcar the Carthaginian, who with his army was fighting in Sicily. One morning he assembled the people and the Senate of Syracuse, as if he had to discuss with them things relating to the Republic, and at the given signal, the soldiers killed all the senators and the richest of the people. These dead, he seized and held the princedom of that city without any civil commotion. And although he was twice routed by the Carthaginians, and ultimately besieged, yet not only was he able to defend his city, but leaving part of his men for its defence, with the others he attacked Africa, and in a short time raised the siege of Syracuse. The Carthaginians, reduced to extreme necessity, were compelled to come to terms with Agathocles, and leave Sicily to him, and had to be content with the possession of Africa. Therefore, he who considers the actions and genius of this man will see nothing or little which can be attributed to fortune, inasmuch as he attained preeminence, as is shown above, not by the favour of any one, but step by step in the military profession, which steps were gained with 1,000 troubles and perils, and were afterwards boldly held by him with many hazardous dangers. Yet it cannot be called talent to slay fellow citizens, and to deceive friends, to be without faith, without mercy, without religion. Such methods may gain empire, but not glory. Still, if the courage of Agathocles in entering into and extricating himself from dangers be considered, together with his greatness of mind in enduring and overcoming hardships, it cannot be seen why he should be esteemed less than the most notable captain. Nevertheless, his barbarous cruelty and inhumanity, with infinite wickedness, do not permit him to be celebrated among the most excellent men. What he achieved cannot be attributed either to fortune or genius. In our times, during the rule of Alexander VI, Oliver Otto de Fermo, having been left an orphan many years before, was brought up by his maternal uncle, Giovanni Fogliani, and in the early days of his youth sent to fight under Paolo Vitelli, that, being trained under his discipline, he might attain some high position in the military profession. After Pagolo died, he fought under his brother Vitellozzo, and in the very short time, being endowed with wit and a vigorous body and mind, he became the first man in his profession. But it appearing a paltry thing to serve under others, he resolved, with the aid of some citizens of Fermo, to whom the slavery of their country was dearer than its liberty, and with the help of Vitelci, to seize Fermo. So he wrote to Giovanni Fogliani that, having been away from home for many years, he wished to visit him and his city, and in some measure to look upon his patrimony. And although he had not laboured to acquire anything except honour, yet, in order that the citizens should see that he had not spent his time in vain, he desired to come honourably, so would be accompanied by 100 horsemen, his friends and retainers, and he entreated Giovanni to arrange that he should be received honourably by the Fermians, all of which would be not only to his honour, but also to that of Giovanni himself, who had brought him up. Giovanni, therefore, did not fail in any attentions due his nephew, and he caused him to be honourably received by the Fermians, and he lodged him in his own house, where, having passed some days, and having arranged that was necessary for his wicked designs, Oliverotto gave a solemn banquet to which he invited Giovanni Fogliani and the chiefs of Fermo. When the viands and all the other entertainments that are usual in such banquets were finished, Oliverotto artfully began certain grave discourses, speaking of the greatness of Pope Alexander and his son Cesare, and of their enterprises. To which discourse Giovanni and the others answered. He rose at once, saying that such matters ought to be discussed in a more private place, and he betook himself to a chamber, whither Giovanni and the rest of the citizens went in after him. No sooner were they seated than soldiers issued from secret places and slaughtered Giovanni and the rest. After these murders, Oliverotto, mounted on horseback, rode up and down the town, and besieged the chief magistrate in the palace, so that in fear the people were forced to obey him, and to form a government, of which he made himself the prince. He killed all the malcontents who were able to injure him, and strengthened himself with new civil and military ordinances, in such a way that, in the year during which he held the principality, not only was he secure in the city of Fermo, but he had become formidable to all of his neighbours, and his destruction would have been as difficult as that of Agathocles, if he had not allowed himself to be overreached by Cesare Borgia, who took him with the Orsini and the Vitelli at Signigalia, as was stated above. Thus, 1 year after he had committed this parricide, he was strangled, together with Vitellozzo, whom he had made his leader in valour and wickedness. Some may wonder how it can happen that Agathocles, and his like, after infinite treacheries and cruelties, should live for long secure in his country, and defend himself from external enemies, and never be conspired against by his own citizens, seeing that many others, by means of cruelty, have never been able even in peaceful times to hold the state, still less in the doubtful times of war. I believe that this follows from severities being badly or properly used. Those may be called properly used if of evil it is possible to speak well, that are applied at one blow and are necessary to one's security, and that are not persisted in afterwards unless they can be turned to the advantage of the subjects. The badly employed are those which, notwithstanding they may be few in the commencement, multiply with time rather than decrease. Those who practice the first system are able, by the aid of God or man, to mitigate in some degree their rule, as Agathocles did. It is impossible for those who follow the other to maintain themselves. Hence it is to be remarked that, in seizing a state, the usurper ought to examine closely into all those injuries which it is necessary for him to inflict, and to do them all at one stroke, so as not to have to repeat them daily, and thus by not unsettling men he will be able to reassure them, and win them to himself by benefits. He who does otherwise, either from timidity or from evil advice, is always compelled to keep the knife in his hand. Neither can he rely on his subjects, nor can they attach themselves to him, owing to their continued and repeated wrongs. For injuries ought to be done all at one time, so that, being tasted less, they offend less. Benefits ought to be given little by little, so that the flavour of them may last longer. And above all things, a prince ought to live amongst his people in such a way that no unexpected circumstances, whether for good or evil, shall make him change, because if the necessity for this comes in troubled times, you are too late for harsh measures, and mild ones will not help you, for they will be considered as forced from you, and no one will be under any obligation to you for them. Chapter 9. Concerning a Civil Principality. But coming to the other point, where a leading citizen becomes the prince of his country, not by wickedness or any intolerable violence, but by the favour of his fellow citizens. This may be called a civil principality, nor is it genius or fortune altogether necessary to attain it, but rather a happy shrewdness. I say then that a principality is obtained either by the favour of the people or by the favour of the nobles, because in all cities these two distinct parties are found, and from this it arises that the people do not wish to be ruled nor oppressed by the nobles, and the nobles wish to rule and oppress the people. And from these two opposite desires there arises in cities one of three results: either a principality, self-government, or anarchy. A principality is either created by the people or by the nobles, accordingly as one or the other of them has the opportunity. For the nobles, seeing that they cannot withstand the people, begin to cry up the reputation of one of themselves, and they make him a prince, so that under his shadow they can give vent to their ambitions. The people, finding that they cannot resist the nobles, also cry up the reputation of one of themselves, and make him a prince as so to be defended by his authority. He who obtains sovereignty by the assistance of the nobles maintains himself with more difficulty than he who comes to it by the aid of the people, because the former finds himself with many around him who consider themselves his equals, and because of this he can neither rule nor manage them to his liking. But he who reaches sovereignty by popular favour finds himself alone, and has none around him, or few, who are not prepared to obey him. Besides this, one cannot by fair dealing, and without injury to others, satisfy the nobles, but you can satisfy the people, for their object is more righteous than that of the nobles, the latter wishing to oppress, while the former only desire not to be oppressed. It is to be added also that a prince can never secure himself against a hostile people, because of their being too many, whilst from the nobles he can secure himself, as they are few in number. The worst that, therefore, to make this point clearer, I say that the nobles ought to be looked at in mainly two ways, that is, to